Now, I'm glad the Saint and the Sinner and Sarge Willie Pete is covering this because nobody don't never cover ancient Kemet. I don't call it Egypt due to the fact that Egypt is the modern name for it, and it's the Greek name of meaning people of black people. That's what Kemet means. And you'll have all these Semitic people, the descendants of the Arabs, basically try to downplay the African history of ancient Kemet. When the farther you go back, you look at the statues and all the images of ancient Kemet, they look like people from Sub-Sahara. They look like people from the Horn. They look like people from what? They look like Nilotic people. So, but they always want to keep on pushing this narrative that Egypt started. The people that created Egypt came from the Levant, which don't that it doesn't make sense. It's not even logical, because how all the images, statues, all the bust images of ancient Kemet, how are all those images looking like people that live in sub-Saharan Africa? The statues looking like with full lips, broad nose, African features. Why come if you look at the image of face, the name for face, it looked like a negroid face with a full nose, full lips. But I don't know. I don't see no Semitic people that look like that. But you'll have modern day Egyptians come out the woodwork and tell people, "Oh, you all Afrocentrists, you all just want to be Egypt." But there's no history that the reason why you have. I'm gonna show you a prime example of that. Before the white Europeans came to America, you had indigenous Native Americans everywhere, right? Right? Okay. Where are all the Native Americans? When you come to the United States now, today in modern time, you ain't gonna see no Native Americans all over the place because they were basically removed. They were removed and pushed out. A lot of them was pushed out into reservations and shit like that. So you ain't gonna go to Washington D.C. or New York see a whole bunch of Native Americans though, right? Well, that's the same thing that every other culture did when they came into ancient Kemet. Some of them came in, they from the Levant, and they intermingled with the people like the Hyksos invasion, which I tell people that was the Hebrew invasion, was the Hyksos invasion. The Hebrews never was slaves in ancient Kemet. They came in as Hebrews, as invaders. They were the Hyksos. First they came in and they lived amongst the people. Then they got their numbers up, and then before you know it, their population got numerous. And what happened? They started trying to take over Egypt. They had their power base in the Delta. Then Seti the first and Seti the second finally drove them out of ancient Kemet, the Hyksos. That was the what you would call the Israelis were the Israel was the Hebrew Exodus. That was the Exodus when they drove the Hyksos out. That's why I told people the biblical in the biblical parts in the Bible just changed the name up. They gave these people known as the Hyksos a name called the Hebrews, but they were literally driven out because they had a war with Seti the first, and Seti the second, his son Seti the second finally drove the Hyksos out, and this is when the golden age of ancient Kemet started. But you had people that were coming in from the Levant intermingling with ancient Kemet. But the older kingdom, the far back you go in ancient Kemetic history, the more African it get. The more African it get. And they want to tell you all these lies that ancient Kemet wasn't a African black civilization. It was completely people that left all the way from the Levant and settled down the Nile all the way down damn near into Nubia, because we all know Nubia, ancient Nubia, is older than Kemet. It predated by 4,000 years. So Nubia is actually older than Egypt. Egypt springboarded from Nubia. But I guess those Semitic Arabs came all the way. Those Semitic people came all the way down damn near into Sudan and started eating. Don't even make no sense with people already living there, and they create their civilization. Don't even make sense, and they just want to push this narrative that they think that they think we dumb when they talk about history. They actually think we dumb, but the reality is, many Sudanese brothers that I talk to and Egyptians that look black, they will tell you that the Egyptians or Kemites were black. They were no Semitic people. The Semitic people and the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians, all them people came later after the civilization was already been around for damn near 2,000 to 5,000 years. Them people came later. And they intermingled with the ancient Kemites. But now the modern day Egyptians, they'll tell you, oh, we are the descendants of the real Egypt. Yes, by what? Just descendants. Some of y'all have Arab, Greek, Turkish, Persian, Roman blood in y'all body. Y'all, the farther south you go into Egypt, go down there into Upper Egypt, you will start seeing the people look, the blacker the people get. And what they do, the Egyptian or Arab government over there in Egypt, they ostracize the Nubian people, say, well, basically these are the people from the south. They are descendants of people from the south, when them are the original people of Egypt. They sit and lie to people and tell you that those black people over there that you see all in Egypt, those are the people that came out of Sudan. They migrants. They try to make them look like they some Mexicans or something, like the Sudanese from the south. Oh, the Nubians just came and they took over Egypt. That's bullshit. The Nubians always were the Egyptians. And that's what they want to try to create this whole fake ass narrative. You got this little white looking Arab girl. She look white as hell, like a white little Arab girl, talking about she a descendant of the real Egyptians, and that Afrocentric people who think that they are not. No, you are not the fucking descendant of those ancient Egyptians. You are an invader that came in later with the Arab conquest. And then later the Ottoman, they don't talk about the Seljuk. The Seljuk had took control over Egypt before the Ottoman Empire did. They ain't gonna tell y'all that. They're going to tell y'all that the Ottoman Empire took over Arabia. The Turks took over the Arabia. And what happens when people take over the Arabia? They normally start intermingling with the women. That's why you got all those white-looking Saudi Arabians over there. But all the darker-skinned Saudis, man, they live in poverty. Go to Saud and go see that shit. How all the black Saudis who live in poverty and shit. They ain't gonna show y'all their history. They got all those white men, the Alawite descendants of Alawite Arabs that came in and took over the South. That's why they had a big thing with if you look at that movie Lawrence of Arabia. That movie Lawrence of Arabia, the king, they made him the king of the Arab world in Iraq. Because the British had took Iraq back from the Ottoman Turk in the Arabian Peninsula. They said the people up north in Iraq said they didn't want no Mennonite Arabs running them, because they said the Mennonites they were like the Abid. They looked like the Abid. That's what they used to call the Mennonites, the Abid. And if you know what Abid mean black. That mean black. It's the same, the Abid mean black. It's the same word for nigger that they use in the Arab world. That's what Abid mean. And most of your Mennonite Arabs from the south, look darker than Arabs from the north. You got the Alawite Arabs, and you got the Mennonite Arabs. And the Mennonites were the black Arabs. Them the Arabs that came out of Arabia during the time of Muhammad. Muhammad was from a Mennonite family. He was a Mennonite Arabs. Most of your Alawite Arabs were the white looking Arabs. They were mixed with Persians and all that shit. Which the Persians were Indo-Aryans, the real Aryans, not them fake neo-Nazi Aryans, the real Indo-Aryans, and they were brown people. They wasn't the white people. But yes, ancient Egypt was an African black civilization. They're just real spiel. I don't give a fuck what nobody say.